Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to episode 3 of Pluto. Last time we were warning the remainder of the seven most advanced robots to the threat that is coming for them. And unfortunately, one of them took Mont Blanc's murder personally and decided to try and get revenge. That being Brando, family man, professional fighter, and just all around good dude. He tried to get revenge for his friend, who he, fought in the war with and everything. But unfortunately, he was taken out. It was a tragic conclusion to an already intense episode that dealt a lot with these other robots. We got to see a lot of Adam, we saw a lot of Brando, a lot of Hercules, and they all really had a chance to shine. They all really got their time in the spotlight, allowing them to feel like, notable characters. I like how, despite us kind of assuming at the beginning, Inspector Gesicht, or however you want to say it, I'm still kind of like unclear on that a little bit. But despite how in the beginning you might think like he's the main character, it's like while he kind of is, he doesn't steal the spotlight from other characters. He shares it with them, which is very fitting of his character and personality too. But the point is, he never feels like he's the only focus. A lot of shows you watch, whether anime or otherwise, you always feel like there's this one character who everything kind of revolves around. And so seeing a series that doesn't really do that is a little refreshing. Like even with something, and I know this is going to be a wild comparison, but even with something like My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, specifically Friendship is Magic, I'm talking about here, you had episodes that focused on all the different characters. Some episodes didn't even have Twilight really in them. But for the most part, Twilight was the main character, and it made that pretty clear. But in this series, it's very evenly split. Oddly enough, kind of like My Little Pony Make Your Mark. Though Make Your Mark in the later chapters has kind of diverted back to focusing more on Misty than any other character, which was a bit of a surprise, but Um, but yeah, it's like for the early parts of Make Your Mark, it was splitting it pretty evenly. And I like that. It's a different feeling. And this anime definitely does that too. Pluto tries to split it between its different characters and make them all seem just as important. Hell, the very first episode, only half of it was dedicated to Gesicht. The other half was North Number 2 and the composer guy. Um, and it felt natural in its execution. It never felt like it came out of nowhere or had no meaning or was unimportant to the plot. It always felt like it was a natural part of Pluto. And so I'm glad we get this focus on other characters as well. That they feel like just as important to the story as Gesicht or anyone else. No one is overtaking everyone else. And it makes you connect with the characters because of that. It allows you to connect with them a lot more, where no character feels like fodder. Even if they're a character you can see, like, oh yeah, this character's possibly gonna die. The signs are there and everything. Hell, it's not even possibly, it's probably. But even despite that, you still look at these characters and you care about them. Even though you believe they're probably going to die, you still get connected because you just can't help it. Because the writing is that strong, which is expected of Naoki Urasawa. The character work also expected, and it just hooks you in a way that few other series really can. The mystery aspect, everything building on itself, of course, Pluto's calling card, everything just feels like it's right. And I'm very interested to see where this ends up going. Because there's a lot of questions I have, a lot of concerns, a lot of things that I just don't understand yet. So, yeah, but just as a note as well, we're probably going to be doing these for the rest of the month 2 times a week. Because at the end of the month, we have we have more than likely a week off, just because of it being the week of Christmas for those who celebrate, and I do. And because of that, my father is going to be home at least on Christmas and maybe the day after. I don't know for the entire week, but I'm probably going to take the entire week off. So because of that, for this week, next week, and the week after, I do 2 episodes of Pluto each. And that finishes out the season so that when we come back afterwards, we have the week of the 1st to the 7th for January, in which we can get back to One Piece. We can get to the episodes before the next arc. And then the week after, because the new episode comes out on the 7th, I believe, the week after we can start the next arc and everything. It basically works out, but we have to do 2 episodes a week for the rest of the time. The only exception would be is if there was time I could record on Christmas week, but I don't know. And I can't guarantee that right now. So right now, like this week, it's going to be episodes 3 and 4 of Pluto. Next week will be 5 and 6. And the week after will be 7 and 8. The days might not be the same. We'll just have to see when it comes to that. But yeah, just wanted to let you all know ahead of time, it's going to be 2 episodes a week unless anything changes. And I'll keep you updated if anything changes. Even if just on the Discord, if it changes before I get the chance to get to the next reaction and all. But yeah, so we're just going to get this started and hope for the best. So, when the screen changes to black, I used the wrong word there. When the screen, I messed myself up big time. Okay, sorry about this. I woke up not that long ago, so I'm still a little out of it. So please deal with me being a little loopy. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. Whew, excuse me. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, I did not expect we'd get this reveal this early on. This is only episode 3 of the series, and yet we already got the Pluto reveal. actually really caught me off guard. We didn't get like a really good look at Pluto's, I guess, main body. Um, but we did get to still, nonetheless, see Pluto, and Pluto was actively a part of this episode. Um, just like the other episodes, there's definitely a lot going on here, so if I miss anything, I apologize. Feel free to ask in the comments about anything I might have missed, and I'll let you know my thoughts. But let's talk about this. So, we're introduced to two new robots in this one of which is one of the seven. And apparently the other isn't. The one that isn't is Adam's sister, which actually surprises me that she apparently isn't. Because I would have thought she would be. But I guess not. Adam has a sister named Uran, possibly short for Uranus, or Uranus, however you want to pronounce it. Um, and she is an empath. She seems to have specific abilities that allow her to feel and track people, animals, robots based on emotional feelings, based on being able to sense what they're thinking and what they're feeling, what they're experiencing, which is a really interesting power. Despite this, she's not like just this like super good positive character. She kind of has a little sass to her. She's a kid. She's a little bit of a brat. She's not a bad kid by any means. She just has some sass. And I like that she has more to her than just being stereotypically good, you know? Just because she's an empath. We are also introduced to Epsilon, who likes to appear like Jesus or something. Epsilon is super fucking pretty and is a parent to a bunch of war orphans because they found love after the war. Following the war and all the horrors that came with it, Epsilon discovered what it means to love and took in these war orphans as their children. And by the way, I'm using they, them pronouns for Epsilon right now because nothing has been used in the canon. And honestly, Epsilon is pretty androgynous in appearance. So I don't know what pronouns Epsilon would use. All I know is they are really fucking pretty. And they are pretty awesome. So, yeah. But yeah, so they seem to be like opposed to all of this hate and war and violence and just bigotry and stuff, and want to see just love be spread throughout the world. And it's a very noble goal, but also one that they clearly understand is very hard to enact. Especially when we have fucking Nazis introduced in this episode. So we're introduced to this guy named Adolf, who lost his brother 3 years ago. His brother was apparently a criminal. We don't know everything that he did. We don't know exactly what his deal was, but we know he was a criminal. And we know that Adolf, now 3 years later, can finally retrieve the body. But it's made very clear very quickly that Adolf lives up to that fucking name. And I want to make clear, if your name is Adolf, if you know anyone named Adolf, I'm not saying that you necessarily are bad or a Nazi or anything, but I'm just saying it's kind of on the nose when this character is pretty much literally the equivalent of a Nazi in this world, and he's very clearly named after Hitler. It's very apparent. But we find out very quickly he's basically this anti-robot cultist who, again, basically a Nazi in terms of the beliefs. And, like, they literally do the Nazi salute. And, I believe they literally said, "Sieg Heil." So it's like, Come on. Um, but we find out that his brother was killed, presumably by Gesicht. We don't know the context behind that or anything. But if that was 3 years ago, could that could be something that was wiped from his memory? Because we also see in this episode that Gesicht, his memory is all fucky. Like he has an entire bit of data missing regarding planning a trip to Japan 2 years back. But instead, his memory and his wife's memory as well are full of a trip to Spain from that time. And the fact is they have too many memories and too like human of memories, they feel. And so Gesicht is starting to definitely believe that they are fake. He asks his I guess you could say handler about it, the professor there, who confronts the director, who basically admits it's like, oh yeah, we fucked with his memories, but we did it for a reason. We need him. He's important. That's basically what it came across as, him saying. So that's fun. But now Adolf wants revenge. He goes to this literal fucking Nazi rally um, to talk with a friend, I guess, is who he's supposed to be, like what their connection's supposed to be. And he's the one who tells him that it was Gesicht and everything. And so, yeah, he gets a really big gun to go after him. But the last we see of him in the episode is right before Gesicht meets with Epsilon. And then that's just not concluded yet. So he's still going to be going after him. But he definitely wants to do it in secret because it's very clear he's trying to keep up appearances. Because you saw him during that dinner scene. He was eyeballing the robot that was sitting at the table near them. And the wife was mentioning, it's like, that doesn't seem right, does it? Like, that seems off that robots are just part of society now. And he's like, honey, we can't be Nazis in public. It's like, oh my God, it's so fucking on the nose. Like, seriously. Even the call to action, basically, like all robots must die and everything. It's like, oh my God, it's like you're not even hiding this at all. It's so blatant. Uh, it's wild. Um, and then we have the story with Uran in this episode. She ends up finding this robot that seems to be like homeless and has lost his memories. He tried doing this painting but can't really finish it. She helps him get his energy back. She helps him get some more paint, and he ends up revealing he has powers to affect the plant life. We also see him create this like tornado gust. And it seems pretty obvious even before he does the tornado thing that he's got to be Pluton or Pluto. Um, it seems pretty obvious. All the signs are there. There's all this evidence, but then it kind of throws you for a loop and starts to make you think maybe he's not, or maybe Pluto is a much more interesting character than we think. It like kind of pulls you back and forth between these two ideals on what could be going on here. But as this part of the story continues along, you definitely start to see more and more how, yeah, this is definitely Pluto. But what is happening? Why doesn't he seem to have any memories? What's going on? And we soon find out by the end that Pluto was controlling a body. And we don't know necessarily the reasons why. We don't understand what's going on there. And I don't know if it's because he was controlling the body that he had no memories, or if there was something else going on. But maybe it was messed up in the battle with Brando. Maybe Brando, while not killing Pluto, did fuck him up quite a bit. That's a possibility. Um, but yeah, Pluto can transfer his electromagnetic waves to other bodies. This body happened to be the body of a construction robot. We see the construction robot's, work body come in and mention that. The body itself otherwise doesn't have, like, the brain disk or whatever it was called. So it was just being controlled this entire time by Pluto, who seems to be like all fucky. But when Pluto sees Adam and hears his name mentioned, like something clicks within him, and while he doesn't quite understand, he knows that he's supposed to be going after Adam. And it looks like he's about to attack him, but he ends up, leaving the body before that can happen. So that's really interesting. So Pluto definitely got messed up. We also hear throughout this episode these whisperings of a mysterious, assumedly robot during the war, who I guess we're going to call for now Bora. One of the war orphans of Epsilon, that Epsilon took in, is basically in this hyper traumatized state, and all he can say is the word that he heard the robot say, Bora. And Bora is mentioned one or two times throughout the rest of the episode as well. Bora was also mentioned, I believe, during the flashback to the war with Mont Blanc, Brando, and Hercules last episode. So that's definitely very important. I'm wondering if Bora could be Pluto, or if maybe, like, Bora was a predecessor to Pluto. Like, there's a couple different scenarios that could be the case here. On top of that, we meet in this episode Professor Abula, who apparently has connections with a lot of these people who were killed. And at first he seems like he's an ally to them, an ally to the pro-robot ideals and everything that we're seeing these people being killed for. And we also find out that he's also a cyborg. And it seems like all on the up and up, but then at the end, it's revealed that he's Pluto's handler, that he's his master, probably even creator, and that he is telling Pluto, you have to remember, you gotta kill Adam. That's your goal here. The question is why? So if this guy created Pluto and is trying to get him to kill all these robots and people, what is his reason? What is Professor Abula's motivation for wanting all these people dead? Like, I don't understand yet. We don't really have that information. And, like, they kind of make this big statement earlier in the episode that, oh, he's considered innocent because he has this airtight alibi, but now we know he has at least 2 robots under his control that could have easily done literally anything without him being considered, a suspect. He has this one creepy ass robot that, like, spits out robot bugs, which is like, fuck that shit to hell. Then he has Pluto, so he definitely has some kind of reason and motivation. We just don't know what it is yet. But there's definitely a big mystery that we're starting to get some answers to, but not all. There's still a lot of questions and a lot of things that were left kind of in the air about. And I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I'm completely fine with that. I'm just, curious as to what the deal is. This episode was a lot. There was a lot going on. There was a lot of things to try and remember. There was some intense moments. Again, fucking Nazis. And the big reveal with Pluto there. Like big reveals with Pluto. So it's like, what now? Where do you go from here? Because this was huge. A lot of shit is going down, and I'm really curious as to what more we're going to get with this. Because this is only 8 episodes, and we're almost halfway through now. But that means we're only almost halfway through. There's still a long way to go. There's still a lot to be revealed. There's going to be a lot to come into play. So, yeah, I'm very curious. But again, as I was saying kind of in the pre-thoughts, I like that we're not just focusing on Kazikt. Like, we get plenty of him in this episode, but we also focus on Adam. We also focus on Uran. We also focus on the fucking Nazis for some fucking reason, because that's a thing in this. We focus on Abula. We focus on all these other characters, because all of them are equally as important. It's not just the Kazikt show. It's not even just Pluto, you know? Despite what the name might make you think. It's about all of these different characters. And all of their connections to everything that has gone on and is going on. So, I guess we'll find out where this goes as we continue with episode 4 later on this week. But yeah, this is turning out to be quite the intro to this series. And I'm still saying intro because it's still only episode 3. Like, we're still in the first half. We're still in the opening parts of this. We're going to be moving into the second half soon, and that's where things are going to really get going, I feel. But I guess we'll see for sure. So tell me in the comments below, what did you think of episode 3 of Pluto? Let me know, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.